Let's have a long conversation about Brick Lady and why I think Brick Lady represents racism, actually, anti-male sentiments, and some other things. Let me demonstrate to you the way that I can demonstrate all this. See, Brick Lady comes from the Somali community, right? And when I spoke with members of the Somali community, they were telling us way back then, she's a scammer. And people call a lot of these Somali men, oh, y'all just sexist. But what about these Somali women? And you'll say, well, those women are just, they are against women too. Okay, interesting. So are those the same types of women that attacked her? Because you know that happened more than once, right? So let me get this straight. A whole black community, a whole subset, a whole lineage of the black community was telling y'all something. You ignored it, and now you're trying to flip it as everyone else who was trying to warn you before as the bad guys. That's interesting. Let me point to you out the reason why I don't like this story and why I didn't like Carlee Russell. It's because I think the cops and the media already knew both stories were nonsense, and that's why they pushed her. How many legitimate stories of black women do you see going missing? Black women who are assaulted by the police, preyed upon by the police, by predator police officers, predators with badges. How many times do you see them make a big story out of that? Oh, they make a big story out of it when it gets discovered. Like, for example, with Roger Golubsky, the police officer who was preying upon black women. And it wasn't until Jay-Z and Rock Nation was doing a documentary and they heard about the stories of all these black women, and they sued. They sued the police department and got the FBI involved. And now Roger Golubsky is behind bars right now. So see, stories like that don't really become big until someone makes it big. So why do you think those two stories were pushed so hard? So hard. Why do you think Carlee Russell was pushed so hard? Everyone knew it was nonsense, right? A lot of people could tell. But they pushed it hard. When I say they, I mean the media, entertainers, celebrities. Why do you think they pushed that so hard? They knew it was nonsense. See, I want you to understand something, right? A lot of people read the story of the Trojan horse, but for some reason, y'all don't seem to really get it. So let me recap you the story of the Trojan horse. See, they present something to you. Looks like a gift. Something that you can rally behind. Oh, black woman's got assaulted with a brick. Oh, black woman's missing. Kidnappers. Now, you're not privy to the same information that the cops, the courts, and the media is, or even people in the local area there. You're not privy to the same information. I want to remind you, the United States of America is the third most populated country on planet Earth. The third most populated, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, my dearest. I want you to understand, that means that means that at the very least, some of the news that you're getting is probably old news to a local media. Things that reach the national media is already old news. So why is it these fresh stories got so big so quickly? Why do you think that is? You see, the media is as racist as you claim that they are, and they don't want to look for black women who are missing. They don't want to talk about it. Well, the way that a racist would respond is, okay, I want to keep being racist, but I want to have a way to deflect whenever these people make their complaints. So let me push a fake story like Carlee Russell. And then when that fake story gets pushed and it gets debunked, then I can use that as an excuse. We can't talk about this missing black girl, missing black woman because, what about Carlee Russell? We don't want to waste police resources or media resources. We don't want to get people riled up, All right, buddy? You know how they talk. See, that's the problem that I have with it. You've justified your own demise. Some of you in the black community. Then what makes it worse? With Brick Lady. Brick Lady calls some of you in the black community to turn against your men. And for some reason, some of you can't seem to wake up to that. The sad part about that is that some of you will never wake up to that. Other communities will not allow you to attack their men. Other communities stick with their men for as long as it takes. Other communities will stand behind people even if they are the criminal element. Don't believe me? Go over to Japan and see how the Yakuza are revered. Seriously. Other cultures stand behind people even if they're in the wrong. But in the black community, all you got to do is have a fake story be pushed out there, and the whole narrative about a whole subset of the black community gets started. Because one guy potentially hit a woman with a brick. Now you're demonizing all black men? Okay. Let me get this straight. At no point did you think that story was nonsense. If she went to the police and told them a black man hit me in the head with a brick, the police don't care about protecting black women. We all know that. But the police will look for any excuse to go mess with a black man. We all know that too. So by her telling the police that would have given the police license to racially profile every black man in Houston. There's plenty of black people in Houston. They would have combed the entire city. If you don't know, then that means that you don't know much about Houston police, because I've met them. Trust me. They are the type. Yeah. But you talk to any the most police departments in freaking Texas. I mean, Lord have mercy. Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott just loves bad cops. That's just who he is. Let's just accept it. That's who he is now. Okay. And when you think about some of this stuff, when you start thinking about that, why in the world didn't the police start racially profiling every black man in that area? How come I, as someone who covers police misconduct almost exclusively, I didn't even hear about that on that particular night? That was the first red flag. Carlee Russell, there was a lot of red flags, but with that case, there's is little nicks and cracks you just gotta look for. All right. They push these stories to cause confusion in the black community. That's all these stories have done. Tell me if I'm wrong. Objectively speaking, before these stories existed, were we better or worse? I think we were better. I think there was a whole reparations movement. There was a whole movement to change the police, and we had momentum with that. It was a whole movement of black empowerment. There was a movement where it didn't matter who you dated, who you were with, how much money you made, where you lived at, so long as you kept your eyes on the prize, so long as you pushed your people, or at least pushed the message, push for laws, push reparations, you were good. But then all of a sudden, this nonsense pops up. See, and it starts to make me wonder if U.S. intelligence is involved, because I'm going to tell you, they've done much more elaborate stuff. If you don't believe that, go view what they did with Fidel Castro in Cuba. They tried exploding cigars, okay? All right, if you try to exploding cigar, don't you tell me they wouldn't try to psyop with Carlee Russell and Brick Lady, because don't you tell me that. Now that might be a little bit more tinfoil koofy here, all right? But at the very least, these two individuals should have never been trusted, and at the very least, we should have saw this division coming a mile away. The media pushes these stories because they know they're nonsense, and they never push stories where people are actually suffering and where the black condition is actually being broadcasted. So be very, very wary when the media is telling you to think about something. Notice how I cover a lot of stories. Go back and look at all my content. I cover a lot of stories from small media outlets. You know, Mogadum Nation, Foundational Black American Controlled. I go over to Vice. I go over to, I mean, God, you name it. I even use colleges and universities and local newspapers because I don't trust the mainstream media. The mainstream media reports things that are to its advantage. And one of its advantages and one of its objectives is anti-blackness. And if that is their objective, they're going to push the obviously fake stories while burying the real ones. I hope we've learned a lot from this saga, from both the Carlee Russell and the Brick Lady saga. Are there sexist black men? Absolutely. Did we deserve the strays that we caught from either one of those situations? Hell no. And the fact that some people can't seem to admit to that is what pisses me off the most.